we're going to see how this works, people. So please let me know if you can see me and if you can hear me. I have done this in 7 years, and right now I'm just doing a test run on this, sitting out on my back deck here. Let's see if I can get a little bit better angle so you can see all my grapevines in there. Yeah, so anyway, we finally upgraded our internet after all of these years. Those of you who are new to my channel might not realize that up until about 7 years ago, I was doing live shows on a fairly regular basis. However, what happened was, besides just always having cruddy internet in the first place, and life just getting busier and busier all the time, it got harder for me to do regular shows. And I just hated the fact that it was always buffering all the time. So I don't see anybody in here. Oh, good. Somebody's in here. Hey. So now that we finally upgraded our internet, I thought it would be fun to try to do these again, because I have to tell you, I loved doing these live shows. It was so much fun to actually interact with people live rather than just, that distance that, pre-recording videos creates. I mean, you still get the interaction and comments, but you just don't get that live interaction, and there's something different there, isn't there? You kind of feel like you get to know a person a little bit better when you can see them live and interact with them. But I'll have to put my glasses on to read all the comments, because it is a little bit blurry for me. But I have to tell you, I wasn't sure how difficult it was going to be to get this set up, because it's been, like I said, 7 years. And I'm like, this is actually really easy. YouTube is definitely, it's one of the good things that they've done, is they've made this so much easier than it used to be. So let me look and make sure everybody can hear me just fine. Let's see. People are saying hi. Hello. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, greatest ever. I'm seeing your comments just, they just let you speak in live stream. Oh, well, I guess all the more reason why I should look at trying to do this more now that I finally am able to. But yeah, so I don't hear anybody saying that they can't hear me, or I don't see anybody saying that they can't hear me. So looks and sounds great. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, how fun. How fun. Oh, there go the dogs. Patrick's heading to the dump, so he's starting the truck, and there's all this noise going on, but I thought I'd do this anyway while I had the opportunity. I'm going to have to go start editing videos. I just got done shooting 3 videos, by the way, which means that my throat is a little thrashed, because I have nodules on my vocal cords after years and years of singing and teaching. And so usually 2 videos is plenty, and I do 3 and it kind of pushes it. And now I'm doing this, so just bear with me. Hang on for a minute. Dogs, I got Luna here today because my son's working in town. So anyway, I didn't have anything specific I wanted to talk about today. It was more just about the just wanting to test this out, see how easy it was. I actually have a live interview coming up. Well, it's not a live interview, but an interview coming up with someone else. And I've had people over the years asking to interview me, and I'm like, I can't, because I don't trust my internet speed. It buffers all the time. And even after doing the live shows back then, our internet slowed down and got even worse. It was worse. I'm like, there's no way I can continue to do this. And it was just frustrating. So it's nice to actually have something that works. Hey, did you need something? I'm live.
Oh, no, I thought you were shooting the video.
No, I'm just.
It's making too much noise.
Oh, yeah. I guess Patrick's not going to come say hi. He's busy. Do you want to come say hi? He can wave. He can wave at least.
Hello.
So he's going to go do the guy stuff and get rid of our garbage, huh? That's always nice.
Making garbage, so I keep making it disappear.
Yeah. Well, some of that too is cleaning out all the junk out of that room. So one of the videos I just shot, by the way, is after all these years, I finally did a tour of my little craft room that Patrick built a few years back off of my ex dance / martial arts studio. So if you're new to my channel, you might not know, I used to teach ballet. I used to teach Taekwondo and Wu Wei Gung Fu right out of my own studio. And I do shoot videos in there. Usually I'm standing at that big oak counter. And I did a video a few years ago where I did a tour of the room, but not of the little room that had all my fabrics in it, because it was horrible, especially after my mom passed away and I ended up with a bunch of her stuff. It was terrible. I hated going back there. I'd get so depressed. And when I'd have to make anything, it was like dig through fabric. And of course, always making it worse no matter how much I tried to organize it. I finally got things straightened up. I got rid of like 7 bags of like fabrics. I'm like, I'm never going to use these fabrics. A lot of them are, I'm trying to, make sure everything's more natural. So trying to get rid of anything that's polyester or whatnot, getting rid of all that. So, and just a bunch of junk that I'm like, why do I even have this stuff in there? You know how it happens. So I finally shot a little video giving you a tour of that little corner, the little sewing corner back there, and things are all organized. And it was so great because I was able to actually make a room to store other things like games, soap making supplies, and more. So it turned out pretty cool. So I'm going to catch up on some comments the best I can here. Yeah, it's a surprise, isn't it? I wasn't even sure if I wanted to make an announcement, because I'm like, well, I don't want to make an announcement that I might be doing this because it might not work. I don't know. It looks like it's working just fine. So good. Yeah, I really didn't know. Deep South. Hey, Danny and Wanda. Good to see you. And yeah, I'm so glad you guys can hear me. Yeah, polyester is terrible. And I'm going to be doing a video soon on linen. I'm so in love with linen. I wish I could make everything out of linen now because of how good it makes me feel, how comfortable it is. It is expensive though. It is expensive, but it's supposed to wear better than cotton. And so I would think long term, you're going to get your money's worth out of it either way. So yeah. So again, this isn't my very first live show. It's just my first live appearance in 7 years. 7 years. So if you actually go to my channel and you got the tabs, you got the videos, you got the posts, and then there's the live. Yeah. If you go back in there, you can see I did used to do live shows on a regular basis. I used to do them every week. And then I didn't do them for a while. And then Patrick and I did one out here in the deck, same area I'm sitting right now. And I was using my cell phone at the time. And that was, that was kind of a little bit problematic too. And so I'm like, this is just not working. Maybe one of these days, we'll do something better for internet. And finally, we just made the leap. I wasn't super excited about it in some ways, but it was just time. And it's a tax write-off. It's, it's for business, and, it does make life a little easier. Not having to fight with the internet, taking 12 hours sometimes just to upload a 15-minute video. That's just ridiculous. It's not always that bad, but sometimes it is, and it is frustrating. So anyway, yeah, it's very cool. This is going to be fun. I'm so excited. So I out at our other pieces of property, probably not. Not unless we took all our Starlink setup with us. And yes, Starlink, I really didn't want to go that route, but out here we're so limited in options. But the nice thing about that is it is a plug and play. You can pretty much take it anywhere, but you still have to have power. You still have to have all this other stuff. So I don't know. I don't think I would do live shows out there at either one. So yes, no, I don't still practice the martial arts. My oldest, both of my sons, Justin and Ryan, and myself, we all have black belts in Taekwondo. And then my oldest son and I got a black belt in Wu Wei Gung Fu, which we got it straight from the founder. He was an elderly Christian man, very, very, very humble, very sweet man, who actually worked with Bruce Lee. And so in a way, you could say we're third degree, not third degree black belts, but whatever, generation Bruce Lee students. So we have black belts in both martial arts. And it was just something I'm not saying I don't I'm really glad I have the training, especially for the sake of self-defense. And that was mostly what I was looking at. And I did teach a few little women's self-defense classes. And I don't know, there might be a day I'll get back into that. But if nothing else, I'm definitely going to be teaching my grandchildren, especially Rowan, the art of self-defense. One thing about Wu Wei or anything that comes from like Wing Chun is it was actually designed by a woman for women. And so it's very efficient. It requires very little strength. And I think it's a good thing to know. And yes, I understand all the things about martial arts. I understand all that, but it doesn't mean you throw the baby out with the bathwater either. There's a lot of good stuff that people can learn about being able to defend themselves especially when weapons aren't handy. So I think it's a good thing to know. And anyway, but the father led me in a different direction. So I taught ballet and other forms of dance with that I started here where we're living now in about, I think it was 89. I started teaching. And then about a year before I stopped, I started my YouTube channel. I taught for like 28, 29 years, something like that. I retired from the dance. I kept doing the martial arts for another year, and then I retired from that. And then it was that same year that I started my channel. I just felt the Lord was leading me away from all that and into a different form of teaching. And I love it. I love what I do. And yeah, it's great. I get to reach far more people than I did in this little tiny town doing what I do now. So that's pretty cool. So look at all these people. Oh, it's so good to see everybody coming in. Hello, everyone. I know I'm not seeing all of the comments. I'm going to be missing a lot. I hadn't really planned on being on here long. Let's see, there was something I did want to make sure I said, and that is the preparedness testimonials. You guys got to send me your preparedness testimonials. I have lots of natural remedy testimonials. I still have lots more videos I can do off of those alone. But I really want to build up those preparedness testimonials. So I think I might have enough in my folder right now. I could do another video, but I'd really like to get more. So people keep sending those in. Now, just to remind you, it's not what it's about. It's about, there's two aspects to it. And you can talk about one or the other or both in whatever it is you share. But it's about, you get people who think, oh, I can't get into preparedness because I can't afford it. Because unfortunately, shows like, what's that show that was out for a long time? I don't know if they're still doing it anymore. Oh, come on. My brain is shut down right now. Oh, what is it? Somebody tell me. Doomsday Preppers. There we go. They were showing these people that already been well set up for a long time, or people that just have all this money that they can pour into I'm just going to put in an underground bunker and bam, there it is. And I'm going to do this and bam, and I'm going to buy 10 years worth of freeze-dried foods. Bam. And there it is. No, that's actually very, very unrealistic. And that's not how it happens for, I would say 99% of most people. And, of course, I'm throwing a statistic out there that I just made up on the fly. But most people can have real life stories. A lot of people were born and raised into this because there was a time where we're just having food storage, having money set aside in the form of cash or whatever it was for any kind of emergency, be it, somebody falls off a ladder and gets hurt or, whatever happens, people were ready. It was a way of life. It wasn't called preparedness. And so if we can get people to understand that, it doesn't have to be this big expensive thing. It can be starting small and building on what you have and learning skills. Skills is a huge part of it. And that doesn't have to cost anything. But you can get on YouTube. You can get on, look at blogs and all kinds of stuff and learn how to do skills. I learned how to crochet from a book. There's a lot of things I learned from watching videos or just teaching myself. And that's how I did it. And then eventually I was crocheting stuff and selling it locally. And eventually I was crocheting stuff and selling it online. And anyone can do that. So back to the preparedness testimonies, the whole idea is I want people to share how they got there and did it frugally without having to spend extra money, whether it be $1 a week, $5 a week, or no dollars a week, and still manage to get themselves in a better place. And then the other side of that is, once you've got yourself in a better position, do you have a testimony you can share that how that helped you? Did you have a death of a loved one? Did you have a job loss? Did you have, a fire that took a whole bunch of other stuff, but you still had this kind of preparedness mindset, or this whatever, that got you through these different difficult times? These testimonies can go a very, very long way to helping people realize the realities of preparedness and why it's a good thing. But on the other side of that, there's also the faith issue. And you get, people that say, well, you don't have enough faith. Well, that's actually not true. Maybe some people don't have enough faith in God to take care of them. And I think we need to put that's where our faith needs to be at in the first place, not in what we can do. It should always be in the Father. But at the same time, it doesn't mean we just get lackadaisical and expect to always be carried through everything. And when, we're supposed to be prudent and foresee the evil that is to come. And scripture clearly states that. And so there are both sides, and there's a fine balance there too. So let me catch up on some comments again, one day at a time, and every little bit counts. Sorry, I'm try to read. Fresh squeeze go. Yep. There you go. Oh, let's see. Oh, I should probably try to scroll up. I hate using a pad. I've got this little laptop out here. Secret to being self-taught isn't that you didn't have a teacher. It's that everyone was your teacher. There you go. Thank you. Palmetto Paratrooper. Good to see you in here, by the way. So hi, everyone. I'm just not going to be able to say hi to every single person, but I'm seeing your names. I'm scrolling through here. Thank you so much for popping in here. And yeah, if you guys like this, I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. I enjoy the live interaction. So like I say, there's something different about it. There's something that just makes everybody so real, so much more real. You guys, me to you, hopefully you can see me. That's not just doing, not just doing a teaching video with no interaction, but just, this is me. This is who I am. And yeah, anyway, I can't remember if there was, there was something else I think I was going to say while I was on here. If I could remember what it was, I should have wrote notes. I do write notes when I'm in videos, especially for things that I want to make sure that I say. Sadly, though, I tend to go off script. I don't always read all my notes, and I still forget stuff, or I forget to write things in the notes that I meant to. And this time I just didn't bother. I'm just like, okay, my videos. I'm going to go give this a try. I'm so excited to give this a try. This again. So, yeah, I was beginning to wonder if it was ever going to. Because I get people, do you ever do live shows? You should do live shows. So, being prepared for us came by listening to the generations of family before us. This is kind of, yes, in part. Yes. And that's the other thing is we live in a society that we're taught to just disregard elderly people. Yet that's where all the wisdom is. And we're not tapping into that wisdom anymore. And thus we're repeating things that we shouldn't have to be repeating. I'm talking about the bad things. History repeats itself, especially when we don't learn from history. And if we stop learning from our elderly people that have so much to give us, so much wisdom and knowledge to offer us, and skills, even if they can't physically do that. Okay, let's go back to my Wu Wei instructor who studied under Bruce Lee. Like I said, he was a very good Christian man, very humble, but he was elderly. He was palsied. He still taught us. How did he do that? He could still do one little move and take us straight to the ground. And even on his deathbed, we went to visit him. And even then, he was showing Patrick how he could take me down if I ever got froggy. It was a joke, but it was just, he never stopped teaching. He never stopped giving his wisdom to people. And he was so caring and loving and generous with that. And I just have so much respect for him. And by the way, if you're curious, you can find him online. His name was Joseph Cowles. And I think if you even looked up Wu Wei Gung Fu, you would probably find information on him. And in fact, the guy that heads the system now is out of Israel. So, because there was, certain groups in there that adopted the Wu Wei method for their self-defense. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I cannot remember his name. It's just kind of at the tip of my tongue, but the guy who heads the system now. And it was a few years ago that Joseph Cowles died. But good man. Good man. I'm just honored that I had a chance to get to know him, not because he knew Bruce Lee, but because he was a good man, an honest man, and he really cared about people. And that's something too that, we got to think about. I'm just kind of rambling, really, because I didn't have a script or any plan of what all I was going to talk about. But, as we get into a place where, okay, I've got X amount of years of food storage after all these years of growing and putting up food, or even the stuff I couldn't grow, getting it from Azure Standard or getting it from Misfits Market or getting it from my neighbor down the road and then putting it up. And, we come into this place where we realize that, okay, now what's our next step? While security and looking out for our own needs to be important, we also have to consider those in need too. I think there's two sides to this. Obviously, we have to be careful. We have to be careful about how we go about this. We talked about it, Patrick and I, in a video we did several years ago. I think it was in 2019, around in there sometime. And we did a series of videos about preparedness. And we did talk about the security thing. We did talk about, do you take everyone in? And, but there does have to be a balance. And I think we always need to go about it with wisdom, but we also got to realize there's always going to be people in need. And when you're blessed with being able to get yourself into a better position, yes, I know it's a lot of work. I know there's a lot that goes into it. I know I've been doing it for many years. But then where do we then find that balance of being able to help others in need too? About being able to give this little, what, I've got extra apples, I've got extra eggs, I've got extra this or that, and I see you could use some. Here you go. And I think, and I think especially as believers, we need to have that attitude. We're instructed to have that attitude of giving and taking care of those in need. But we also, on the wisdom side of things, we need to go about it with wisdom and prayer and make sure that we're also careful about how we do it. So there can be this balance of loving each other, but also making sure that we're taking care of and we're not being stupid and putting the lives of our own children, our grandchildren, our family, ourselves in danger. So all of these things have to be considered. And anyway, that's some stuff. Those are some topics I'd like to talk more about down the road. See, by growing food, filling freezer with meat, canning, baking, Heidi is right about it. Takes a while, but start. And before you know it, you have a process going and develop skills. I wonder if I'm okay. I just want to make, somebody said hi to Antonio. Maria. My purpose today is to be of service to God and his kids. Right. And, obviously my family and making sure that my grandkids are taken care of and that they're safe is going to be very, very important to me. The Father's really been kind of now leading me into, okay, how can I go more outwards and look at, not that we never have, but just trying to look at those around us. We have several widows in our lives that we know. And these are the people, like my sister-in-law, for one, we definitely want to make sure that she's taken care of, and we do try to teach her along the way about, it'd be a good idea if you, considered having this or considered having that, just to be more prepared for the common power outages we get. We worry about her not staying warm enough in her place because she only has electric heat. And then we have an elderly lady in our neighborhood. She's not a widow, but she's single. and we'd like to be there for her. And, you know, there's another widowed lady that she actually eventually kind of started down this road too. And I like to be of help to her. I give her starts to help her expand her garden. I give her seeds. I give her, you know, sometimes I just share my excess with her, just to show that love of God to her. And she is a believer too, but not all of the people we help are. And that's a way that we can not only be the example that God wants us to be, but also it can open doors to help teach people on how to get themselves in a better position too, aside from just helping them when they're in need. And I think we need to be willing to do that rather than always keeping it all just about ourselves and taking care of ourselves, because that's not what the Father wants us to do. So yeah, be okay with mistakes. Absolutely. Absolutely. We all have mistakes. And you know what? Those mistakes are things that we learn from. In fact, sometimes we learn more from our mistakes, the things that went wrong, than we did from the things that all went right. Because if everything's going right, we take things for granted, and, you know, we didn't really learn as much from that. And so I think mistakes and things that go wrong are actually important. Mistakes is my middle name. Hey, I make mistakes every single day. You have no idea how much stuff I cut out of my videos. And I don't do that to try to make myself look perfect. I do that because of the fact that I'm trying to keep the videos on point as much as possible, but also smooth and to shorten them up. Part of the reason I was always trying to keep my videos on the shorter side, though, was because of my upload speeds. I don't have to worry about that as much now. But there are certain topics you just kind of learn that are better if you can streamline it down into like 10 minutes or less. And other ones are better, you know, if you can go 15, 20 minutes, it's okay if you're adding all that extra details of the questions that people have. And then sometimes chat videos, like even just going live, you know, people don't mind, you know, they can pop in and pop out, and, you know, you're just chatting, you're just having fun, you're enjoying yourself, and maybe hopefully dropping a few little wisdom bombs along the way. I'm not going to get in trouble for using that word. Wisdom somethings. Something good. I meant that in a good way. Don't ban me. Oh, gosh. You have to be so doggone careful on here. Yeah, some are Rumble topics for certain. This is why I have a Rumble channel. If you don't know that, I have a Rumble channel. I think I've had it 3 years now. I think. I had to take a break from it for a while just because our internet was so bad. It was really, really tough putting videos there. Tougher there than on YouTube. But with that, I can actually put, especially as yet another topic gets banned on YouTube. Okay, fine. We'll just go put it on Rumble. And just go put that on Rumble too. And so, yeah. But yes. So again, if you're just popping in here, I used to do live shows years ago. I gave it up because of time, but mostly because of our terrible, terrible internet. And now we finally have good internet. Finally. So I can do these without a whole lot of buffering. And yeah, I got the sun right in my eyes. I hope the picture is okay. I was going to try to wait and shoot this later, but I really was excited to try this out and see how well it was going to work. And but I am going to have to get in there and start editing my this and that video. So Thursdays, the days I shoot my this and that videos, plus usually 2 other videos, and then I try to get that this and that video edited the same day and uploaded and ready to go for Monday. So yeah. Thanks to you, I have a garden, a dehydrator, and raise a lot of herbs now. It's taken me time since I'm 75, but I'm getting prepared as best I can, making tinctures again when my bottles get here. Awesome. Oh, hi, Darlene. Just thinking about you. I keep thinking about you because the whole linen thing keeps coming up. In fact, somebody brought just the other day some linen. It's like a jumper. And she wanted me to hem it because it was too long. And so we got talking about linen. I'm like, man, linen is my new love right now when it comes to fabrics. I just love it. And it all started with Darlene telling me about those sheets. So I got myself some sheets, fell in love with the sheets, got a second set so I can keep switching them out because I like to make it where I can pull the sheets off the bed, put a fresh one on while the other ones are washing, and don't have to worry about it later in the day. And boy, I tell you, the change it made in the way I sleep, especially dealing with hot flashes, are just practically non-existent. And even when they do come on, they go away quickly. So much better than cotton. So little by little, I've been, stocking up on linen fabric, making myself some linen skirts, making myself some, because I always wear my own creation of bloomers, I guess you could say, all, full length bloomers that go clear down to my ankles. And I decided I need to make some of those out of linen too. Oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever been this comfortable. And, today's going to be one of those hotter days. And I tell you, it's already, I can just tell it just feels so good. So I'm going to be making myself some linen, just basic linen tops. And I made pajamas. Love them so much. So I'm going to be doing a video about linen and some of the other things I learned about linen and the actual science and medical uses of linen. And I'm like, it's true. It's true. And like I said, it is more expensive, but I think in the long run, I think it's definitely worth this money, especially like for the sheets. If you can get a better night's sleep, it's definitely worth it because good sleep does a lot for health, just that alone. So anyway, yeah. Let's see, what does it say? Hello, I follow you from France. Just been doing my elderberry tinctures, etc., trying out citrus peel vinegar, but it didn't turn into vinegar. What did I do wrong? Maybe I didn't put enough sugar. That's the problem, is sometimes when people ask these questions, I won't really know because I don't know how much sugar you put in. I don't know how warm the climate is. I don't know if maybe you used non-organic citrus peels. That can definitely have a say in it. I don't know if you used water that has chlorine in it. That can cause issues with your vinegar. Citrus peel vinegar, I will say this, that I always forget to say when I'm talking about making vinegar from citrus peels, is that the pith part, which I always leave in there, it will disintegrate and make the vinegar cloudy. That's normal. The same thing will happen if you're using apple chunks rather than just apple peels. You'll get a cloudy vinegar. This can all be strained out through cheesecloth or even just a fine cotton cloth, old sheets, old cotton sheets. And you can get a lot of that out. But yeah, the sugar amount is somewhat variable. It doesn't have to be exactly precise, but too much sugar can prevent a good ferment because it basically kills it before it can ferment. Remember, sugar is a preservative as well. Where too little sugar, you're not going to get a very acidic vinegar. It's going to ferment, but it's just not going to be all that acidic. So you got to have sugar. And then I also get the question with that. It's like, well, can I use stevia or monk fruit or this? You can, but it actually needs nutrients. It needs to feed on nutrients, and those things are non-nutritive, so they're not feeding the vinegar and getting them what they need to eat and then turn to vinegar or to wine, depending on what you're making. So sugar or honey, these are important. I know we live in a culture where just all sugar is evil, but that's just not the case. It definitely has its place. I mean, God gave us sugar cane and honey and maple syrup and all this stuff for a reason. So I don't think we need to vilify everything. I feel the same way about grains when people vilify all grains or vilify all meats. I mean, there's obviously you have healthy and non-healthy forms of all these things. And there's such thing as balance. So white sugar, if it was beet sugar is GMO, it may or may not have an effect on that. So if it's just plain white sugar, it's most likely beet sugar, which is genetically modified. Yeah, I don't know for certain. I mean, if you're in France, you might not have, because the US is the worst when it comes to all the junk they put in their food and things that aren't allowed in other countries and the GMOs and stuff that aren't allowed in other countries. But hey, they do whatever they want to us for some reason. And it's all good because America. So yeah, anyway, I can go off on that tangent. But see, when and how did you start your preparedness journey? I have a video. Let me see. I don't know if I can find, let me see if I can find a link to it. I'm not used to doing stuff like this. It's a fairly recent video where I talked about, I'm sorry, I'm not used to doing things this way. Okay. It should be fairly recent. Okay, that didn't work. I can't remember what I called it. It's fairly recent, and I talked about how I got in there because it is kind of a long story. Kind of. But, you know, it was really a series of events. Gosh, I wish I could remember the name of it. I'm sorry, people. I'm looking. I'm not saying it. I don't know. I don't know. But really, it just started. I mean, the very, very basics. It started off with me, you know, always needing to doing a lot of stuff like tomato based stuff, like, you know, spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, lasagna sauce, chili, anything where I use canned tomatoes. And it was like, I hate running to the store every time I get a whim and I want to make something and I don't have the ingredients to make that thing on hand. And so I started stocking up on stuff when it would go on sale. Then eventually, of course, started growing my own tomatoes. And the same thing with baking supplies. You know, I've been, ever since I was in my mid-teens, I've been making a lot of my own breads, you know, pancakes and biscuits and pie crusts and, you know, and breads, yeast breads and all different kinds of breads, and developed that more and more through the years. And, you know, you go through flour pretty fast. And then I learned about Glory Bee, which is really similar to Azure Standard. At the time, we had a Glory Bee drop here, which was great. And, you know, a lot of the homeschooling moms, but that's how I learned about it, because a lot of the homeschooling moms would buy through this. And I found I could buy, you know, 50 pounds of flour and 25 pounds of this and 5 pounds of that. And I'd be good for a while. And so I started doing that and I loved it. And it was more for the sake of convenience and to save money. And then down the road, as I started realizing how nice it was to be able to just fall back on all this stuff. I have my own little grocery store, you know, the more I wanted to do that. So a lot of it was just that, you know. And then, of course, you know, in 2012, when I finally decided to really delve into the political realm and learn about what's really going on out there and who are these people that we keep voting for the lesser of two evils for. And I was like, wow, I learned a lot that year. I learned a lot. It was a tough, tough year. It was a couple of, actually, it was 2010, not 2012. The election was 2012. So it was 2010. I wanted to make sure I had done my homework before the election. But in the process, of course, I learned a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'm like, wow, no better time than to try to go back to the old way of doing things and trying to be a little more self-sufficient and taking, you know, and not depending on some entity to take care of us and to tell us what we should do. So yeah, a lot of it was just wake up calls all the way around. So am I still in the picture? Oh, I am. I know I got sun half in my eyes. I wonder if I brought that down a little bit. That's not helping. But anyway, yep, that's kind of it in a nutshell. There were some other things that helped spur us a little more along the path. The more you learn, the more you do, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, I do have plans for next year in my garden. One of the things I'm really looking forward to trying, that I bought last year before I made the decision to give my garden a rest this year, is I want to see how well einkorn grains will grow here. So I got some organic little bag of seeds for planting, and I'm going to start with just back here. And, you know, because if you're new to my channel, you might not realize that this right here where I'm at, this is just a little shy 1/3 acre piece in the neighborhood corner lot. And so most of what we do is just right here, because it's where we started. And then we bought another piece of property and we bought another piece of property, but still most everything happens here. So I'm going to start here, and just because I don't want to till up a big section out there at the other piece until I try it. So I'm going to take a section here. I know it's not going to be enough to get us through a winter or anything, but I'm going to try seeing how well einkorn will grow for us here. I mean, it is a grass. You know, there are some corns that we can grow here. So I'm going to try that. And if it does really well for us, I'm considering maybe sacrificing some of that land out at the other piece down the road and growing our own wheat grains out there and seeing how well that does for us. So that's one of the things I'm going to do next year. And yeah, I've already got plans kind of in place of the type of seeds I want to start besides my own, you know, tomatoes and whatnot. One of the things, I actually talk about it on Monday's video, but I'll go ahead and mention it here, is Misfits Market had some, I'd never seen them before. They're called Midnight Roma tomatoes. And my last Romas just didn't do great. And so I'm like, those are really pretty because they're black and red. They're really cool looking. You should look them up if you've never seen them before. They're very beautiful. And so I bought the tomatoes, and they're organic, just mostly so I could save the seeds and try growing them this next year along with the rest of the tomatoes I grow. And I want to see how well those do. I mean, Romas are great. Usually Romas do pretty good in our area because they grow a little bit faster. They're typically a smaller plant and they're a smaller tomato. So you can usually just get these nice clusters of Roma tomatoes, and they're great for sauces. And, that's why a lot of times they're called paste tomatoes. Well, I think there's some that are some Romas that are specifically called paste tomatoes. Or is it the other way around? I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, those are the ones that are typically used for sauces and tomato paste and whatnot. So I still like having some of those on hand. And anyway, they're just a beautiful tomato. So see you, Sandy. And again, if there's, do I prefer einkorn flour for baking? I've only tried einkorn once where I bought the whole grains and ground them up myself. I personally did not see a difference between that and the organic hard white wheat berries as far as flavor and all that, and how it turned out. And oh, wow. Thank you, Teresa. That was very kind of you. I didn't expect that. And if I missed any of those others because I'm staring at the camera more, I apologize, but I do appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I don't expect that. Amish paste. Yes, I've grown those before too. They did okay. Not as good as I'd hoped, unfortunately. But yeah, Teresa's been a long-time follower of my channel, and she has her own. I think you still have a channel. I'm really bad at keeping up on channels these days, and I apologize for that. I'm probably gonna have to go because I can feel these things in here swelling up, the nodules. So like I said, lifetime of teaching dance and martial arts and singing, and now doing YouTube. At least I can give myself a break as needed. So I should probably get going and work on those videos. But I thought there was something else I was going to say about, the einkorn. I think I finished answering that. I personally did not notice a difference, but my friend who has to be gluten-free, she does way better on the einkorn. She can handle the einkorn. So if you have gluten issues or, intolerance or just any kind of issues with the modern grains, look at going with your ancient grains. Your gut will probably thank you, and you probably won't have to worry about being gluten-free. And so that's what she's finding, that and some sourdough she can handle. A lot of times sourdough works really well with some people who have those issues. So anyway, yes, thank you all for stopping in. I didn't really mean to stay this long, 42 minutes. I was going to try to keep it down to a half an hour. And by the way, if there's any commercials in the middle, I hate mid-roll commercials. I forgot to say this from the start, but when I went to set this up, it would not let me do it any other way. For my regular videos, I do not have mid-roll commercials because I hate them. I despise them. So if something popped up, I'm sorry. I did set it for 30 minutes thinking, okay, I'll be done by 30 minutes. So I see now it's 42 minutes. So you probably saw one. I apologize. I hate mid-roll, but for some reason for the live, it doesn't look like they allow you to not have those unless I just don't monetize at all. But with what they've done to me on this channel, taking my everything, all of my analytics down to 1/3 of what it was about 9 months ago. I was saying 6 months ago recently. It's been at least 9 months. And it would drop down to half, then it dropped down to 1/3. And so I'm doing just as much work, making 1/3 amount of revenue as I once was. And I don't know how far down it's going to keep going. That's what's kind of scary. It's like, man, I got to make my time worth something. So unfortunately, I have to monetize if I want to make something for my time. But I really apologize if there's any mid-roll commercials. I don't want them. Oh, there's someone says they haven't seen commercials. Cool. I prefer not to have them at all, except for in the beginning, put up with that. So anyway, thank you, everyone. Like I said, I'm not sure if this will be something I'll do weekly. Probably will make it a habit more to do this on a Sunday rather than a Thursday. So, and then at that time, I'll probably schedule it so people will know when to expect me to come on live and not be surprised. But again, I had to see if it was going to work because it's been so many years since I've done something like this. And I'm really looking forward to being able to do more, interviews and stuff like that again, like I did back in the day when I first started my channel. So take care, y'all. Thanks for dropping in. Love ya, and God be with you. And bless you in all the many things you have going on in your lives right now, and getting yourself in a better position, no matter if it's spiritually or physically or whatever it is. Just keep plugging ahead, people, and take care. And God bless. Let's see, is that it? Oh, I'm still